I look a fucking mess, but whatever. I cannot begin to fucking tell you. The realization that I just had is fucking breaking my heart. It's disheartening as shit, okay? I just experienced the same fucking cycle. I knew all this stuff already. What? This is gonna piss me off even more, motherfucker. I don't know who to fucking try and be mad at, because it's literally just me. It's just fucking me that's doing all this bullshit. Okay, it's not bullshit. I needed this. I need to experience this, because who the fuck else was gonna do this for me? It's so funny because I feel like I'm starting off this second chapter in my fucking YouTube channel the same way I left it off, but this time I'm fucking sober and manic. I'm not manic. I need to stop saying that. In the last video that I made, I had the life-altering realization that I fucking dissociate from myself. And I was like, okay, well now I know, so I'm not gonna do it again. No, motherfucker, life does not work like that. Healing does not work like that. And I just spent the last 2, almost 3 years denying that. I'm just gonna read these fucking notes and I'll get pissed as I'm... Okay, anyways. These are notes that I wrote to myself back in 2021. 3 years ago. But then, anyways, you just changed your mind. You didn't change your habits. Fucker! When I was making my bed, I thought of a situation between a mother and her son. The son said, your better isn't my best. I know you see the problem, I do too. But you have to give me time to figure it out. You have to let me process my thoughts and emotions. You have to let me plan things the best way I know how. You have to let me want it enough. It's not like I don't know what I need to do to better myself. I do. I just don't want it enough. I need to find a reason that motivates me for myself, not for anyone else. If I keep relying on the external to motivate me, then I won't have anything to support me internally. I can't do things simply just because by you forcing me to do anything, which you excuse as encouragement, but you aren't meeting me where I'm at. You're trying to control another human being who's been thinking, acting, and behaving in whichever way that it has been for its entire existence. We're talking about a soul level of knowledge with the universe. I do things my way and it just works. Everything always ends up working out for me. I promise. I'm moving in a way that you don't see. I'm moving in a way that you can't physically process. It's scary to see. I know. It is hard to process. I know. Trust that the internal healing that is occurring within me is for the better, okay? That matters too. Let it matter too. The universe within me is speaking to my conscious. Okay, I know. It's my control thing. I'll remind myself to flow with the natural order of the universe, to trust in the natural order of the universe. We got this. Did I do that? No. When I was making this writing, I really feel like the mom was my higher self or the universe, or like a healthy path of healing that the son, me, was strongly denying. Like I didn't want to. I don't want to do it like that. I want to do things in my own way. And I was challenging the universe. At that point, what the fuck else could the universe do but throw its hands up? I already told you what's up. I already showed you all of the lessons. You already experienced all your lessons with these people. You don't have to keep going back to that. You can do something new. Try to do something new. And me and my egoic self was like, no, I got this. Being cocky. And I was like being overconfident, which was me diminishing the complexity of the situation. My mental health is not easy. My mind is not easy. The trauma that I experienced is not easy. And I wasn't making it easier for myself. I don't know if I can stop being mad right now. And I remember writing for my birthday post when I turned 25. And I was like, if you have a lot of trauma and you dissociate, me motherfucker, you out of all people need to journal. You out of all people need to be paying attention to your mental health. You know how easy it is to fucking write out your thoughts? And I haven't been doing that. I didn't do that for like the past 18 months. Let me keep fucking going. I used to give so much of myself to other people so then they have a reason to stay. What I didn't understand was that I cannot impede on someone else's free will. It's not in my control if our lives are aligned or not. They have their divine life path and so do I. I fucking made a video about this. But here I am in this spot learning the same thing. I was wrong about forever. Everything is in a state of impermanence. This too shall pass. The bad, but most importantly, the good. It's not based on whether you and this person last. That's going to be a meaningless relationship. If your intention is quantity versus quality, then you have objectified the other person in this relationship in terms of benefits. Hold on. People are unique. People have it in their own right to be whoever they want to be for whatever season they wish. They're obligated to the expansion of their evolution, not yours. The inability to understand that right within others is the inability for you to understand that in your life as well. If you don't let people be, if you don't let people live their life and do whatever the fuck they need to do for themselves, you're not going to understand that. You're going to be too controlling about their path. You're going to keep pulling them back to something that should have already been done. You'll never be able to create boundaries with what you need in your life if you think everyone can be like this in this way when I need them. When they leave, it isn't personal. It isn't you. Recognize, understand, accept, and integrate that the purpose and reason for your existence to enjoy and appreciate the expansion and evolution of who you truly are, which is the expansion and evolution of mankind. Let me tell you the situation that triggered this whole shit, okay? Universe is telling me there's change. Universe is telling me that there's something different different available to me. I'm scared. I'm fearful. I'm doubtful. I already spent so much time with this Tina. You're gonna make me turn into a new Tina? No, I don't think so. And actually, let me go back because maybe I didn't do everything that I could have to save these fucking relationships. You should not be going back to your exes 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Take it from me. You should not be doing that. I feel like I did it with every single person that I've been with. Like, I keep giving them chances to come back. I keep wasting my energy in the same fucking narrative. I wrote this last year, August 2023. I see myself walking to the lower world. It's an area that I'm familiar with. Although it should look like hell, it isn't for me. It's dark, blue and purple, has a lot of mountains. I walk by my shadow. The greeting is happy and cheerful. I'm no longer scared. We're friends now. We catch up. Although, the story never changes. What else is there to say? Me and my exes, me and the people that I keep letting back into my life again and again and again and again. Hey, how you been? This is my shadow. I'm good. You know, still the same. Nothing changes here. Haha. Just, you know, waiting on you. And I'm like, let's just go over the story one more time. Just one more time. My shadow, Christina. We've been over the story so many times. It hasn't changed. I'm like, well, I mean, maybe, like, what if I miss something? Just tell me again. Tina, I think that you'll hear the same story and be stuck in the same cycle. We talked about the wheel, right? When it's time to get off, then yeah, I gotta get off. And being crushed at the bottom of the wheel, I know you like it. I'm silent. You don't have to say anything, but I know you do. You're addicted to suffering and attached that cycle to purpose. You're scared to begin again and possibly make mistakes. You're at a standstill. But as much as I like you talking to me and as much as I like talking to you, nothing has changed. Something needs to change. I don't want to stay like this forever. I want to transform to something else, you know? Like it's my turn to go into the light. And then I say, there's more for me to experience than what has happened here between us. My shadow says, you'll see me again. You might not remember me because I would have changed so much. I know you don't understand, but I can't explain it right now. You might not want to make the wrong choice, but you know that judgment was never up to you in this present moment. It's up to the universe in your present moment. Your future self is waiting on this canon event. You're addicted to suffering and attach that cycle to purpose. That's true. That is literally fucking true. I keep going back to these people thinking like, oh no, but I view it as something intentional. I view it as something powerful. And it was meant to like teach me something. I already learned that lesson, but I don't think that it's enough. I'm like, no, but I see it, but why don't you see it? Why don't you see it? Why don't you see it? And then I try to control them in their life, in their growth, in their path to see what I see. Because at the bottom of it, I want to know you value me as much as I value you. So the wound of abandonment, the wound of rejection, the wound of validating my own worth based on external sources is so strong. I didn't realize that like, this sounds so obvious, which is pissing me off. And I think mentally I understood it. Yeah, you gotta let people be how they're gonna be. You have to trust them, what they're showing when they show it to you. You can't do anything about that. That's not you. And once you see it, and once you see the worst parts of them, don't excuse it for like, oh no, but this is just one bad moment. It's who they are. It's a part of who they are. And yes, there's a lot of good in them, but you have to see both sides. That goes on to the fucking path and the lesson of duality that I've been learning, the alchemical union of the opposites. Two things can contradict each other and still be in the same space, and that makes them who they are. But I was so stuck in this fucking black and white thinking, I didn't want to think that's true. Like, oh no, if you're doing something that's harmful for you or other people, that's just because you don't understand yet. You don't understand yet. But is it up to you to really make them understand? No! You gotta let it go. You gotta stop wasting your fucking energy. When it's done, it's fucking done. And I think I just kept going back to hoping that the trauma that you have caused me, the hurt that you have caused me within this relationship, that was a one-time instance and you didn't actually mean that. Actually let me go back because I don't want to deal with that hurt. I don't want to confront the pain that you caused me and then put it on you. I'm gonna put it on myself. I'm gonna keep trying to make you the person that I want you to be, even though you don't even give a fuck. Like, I have a high standard for my life and my living and my morality and my ethics, and I take accountability most times on a lot of things. I want you to do the same thing, but people are not going to look at the world the way that you look at them. You just have to let it be. You have to let it go, which leads me to my next thing. The truth will set you free. Made this in 2022, January 2022. When you are experiencing the worst parts of someone for the sake of your health, you cannot simply excuse that experience as a bad moment. Dismissing your pain and distracting yourself with the memories of a good moment is only an act of hyperfixation. You are limiting your perception towards one side of the story. You can't pick and choose what parts of them is real and and what isn't. That's a voluntary act of delusion. You have to be able to see the other person in the fullness of who they are. In trade, you are capable of perceiving your reality in the fullness of what it is. You deserve your ability to make your own decisions. You should not be deceived into a relationship. You cannot always resort to reminiscing, placing those good memories on a pedestal and saying, but this happy moment here, this is their true nature. The harsh reality is, this is all of them. All of them is their true nature. You know this more than anything else, that seeing is believing. Automatically, that's the rule. Even for situations you would rather not acknowledge. And I think it was hard for me to look back at the maladaptive coping mechanisms that I created for myself, because I'm like, no, that's stupid. Like, why would I do that? That's so fucking stupid. You now as an adult, you're gonna look at that and you're gonna be like, no, of course I wouldn't say that now because I know better now. But your brain, what is it called? Your physiology, the trauma that's stored in your body, it doesn't know any different. It hasn't been updated. It's literally a system that you are ignoring. If you don't talk to yourself, every aspect of yourself, not even just trying to stay in this like higher self, higher consciousness, in mental, intellectual, but like your emotions in your body, you have to carry everything along. And I fucking forget how bad I dissociate, dude. I fucking forget that. And that was just my makeup. That was my build. I came into this world with the trauma that made me dissociate in the first place. That's my whole fucking thing. I experienced a trauma that made me dissociate. So obviously, naturally, my body is going to be segmented. It is going to be separated from itself. Like, I compartmentalize a lot of my feelings, a lot of my truths, a lot of my knowledge in every system of my body. Like, there are truths that my body knows. There are truths that my emotions knows. There are truths that my mind knows. There's truths that I spiritually, soul-wise, crown chakra know, but they're not on the same page because I'm not talking to myself. And I guess I just got tired of talking to myself or having these conversations over and over again. But then when I don't fucking talk to myself, when I don't talk to myself, I don't get on the same page and I fucking dissociate and I get impatient. I'm impatient with myself. I'm impatient with the process. I'm impatient with allowing myself to learn what I need to learn. Not even just learn, like I'm impatient to teach myself what I need to know. I'm gonna just read this next thing, I'll move on. Long-lasting happiness is and can only be intentionally chosen. I can't look at my being like a fucking machine, like a well-oiled machine. Like I was just doing things and they happened to work, but I wasn't clear on the why it worked. I just took it as like, oh yeah, well, I've healed enough and I'm done and I'm good now, so I'm just gonna go. Like I don't have to keep doing this. No, motherfucker. When you choose to heal and when you choose to become better, what was I fucking saying in my YouTube channels, in my fucking descriptions? Healing isn't easy, but it's always worth it. And yes, it's gonna be hard, and yes, it's gonna be tiresome, but that's what you deserve. You deserve to be the best version of yourself. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be fulfilled. You deserve to like live your life in a way that's not only true to you, but healthy for you, supportive for you in a loving way. Anyways, it is tremendously difficult to surrender because we are rebelling against generations of systematic control. This false sense of authority has been our best sustained trauma. And it feel so good to be committed to something? We invite this addiction, which has only produced pain, sacrifice, and suffering. We mask how restricting this feeling is because subconsciously, we always knew that it was out of alignment. And all of the times that I went back to past partnerships, all of the times that I denied love in my life and I rejected love in my life, I didn't want to believe that something else was better for me because I was so comfortable, addicted, used to being in trauma. And like how I told myself in the writing that I wrote literally to myself earlier, I'm addicted to suffering. Because that's like the paradigm that I know the best. And I'm so scared of the unknown. There's such a strong need for me to control that I would rather put myself in situations that are detrimental to my mental, emotional health, that do not match me, that cause me to suffer, that cause me to be in pain, because I understand this narrative very fucking well. Yeah, let me get with a shitty person. And yeah, I know that they're shitty and I recognize it. I see all the signs, but at least it's the trauma that I'm used to. At least it's the trauma that I know within myself very fucking well. And I already saw it, so what the fuck ever. But just because you rationally understand something and that's one system that you have within you, emotionally your brain can understand that this is like a fake experience that your brain is creating for yourself because you already can't predict whatever's going to happen. Your emotions, your body's going to take this like it's experiencing it for the first time again and again and again. Put yourself in that wheel. Put yourself through that emotions. Take accountability of your feelings. You're gonna force your body and your emotions to experience the same shit. And it's like I was selfish about it. Like I was selfish about my experiences and I was selfish and constricted and limited, and I didn't want to open my mind to see every part of me because I didn't care. Like, I just wanted to experience the same familiar thing so I could avoid fear, so I could avoid new. And I knew it was out of alignment, man. I knew that this was not what I was supposed to be doing, but I kept ignoring it because I was so scared of giving myself new, of trusting the universe, of deciding that I deserve better, because that means that I would be letting go of things that I'm so familiar with. Instead of facing the truth that there must be a different way, we live to manipulate ourselves with excuses. Whenever this exhausting heartbreak returns, we commanded ourselves to get back in line. Just be stronger. We convinced ourselves that our value was worthless if we had nothing to strive towards, if we had no goals to accomplish, if we did not have any boxes to mark off. And this has been the idea that I've been realizing, like, yeah, I want to live my life effortlessly. And yeah, I want to live it with ease. And yeah, I want to trust that like things can come to me without me having to do anything. But I'm so deeply ingrained within this process of trauma, of suffering, of pain, of chaos. I don't want to believe that there's another way that can make it easier. It's also something about like negative reinforcement. As long as I'm the one that's in control, as long as I'm the one that's creating the story for myself, then I'll be okay. But I don't want to suffer anymore, bro. I don't want to keep looking at things and being like, oh yeah, I know exactly how it's gonna turn out, but fuck it, I'm just gonna do it anyways and I'll deal with it later. Things are fucking multiplying, bro, exponentially. My pain is going out the fucking roof. My head is constantly above water. That's because I don't let myself chill. I don't let myself rest. I was really stuck in the chaos. Like, I'm hearing so many voices of things that my friends have told me before. Like, yes, you're strong, but you don't have to keep proving that to yourself. And yes, you'll always bounce back, but the time that you used to bounce back could be actually used for you to move forward. And yes, you're repeating a cycle, and yeah, you know you shouldn't have went back to that person. But I really didn't want to listen. Like, I really did not want to confront myself. And I really didn't want to feel the shame that came with it. And I really didn't want to confront the fact that I didn't love myself. I don't know how to take care of myself. I do things that is harmful for me. I'm no different than the people that I'm getting with. And I'm telling past Tina in every fucking universe and every reality and dimension timeline right now, please know you don't have to put yourself in pain anymore. The only path available to you was not just pain. And yes, that is the path that your dad gave you, but that's not the path that you have to follow. Like, you were a victim, and then what did you do to take revenge? You became the victim of yourself, and then you start repeating that cycle again and again and again and again. And there's so much grace, and there's so much love, and there's so much gratitude for every experience that I've been in, every person that I've interacted with, and the lessons that I've learned and whatever. And there's no shame in that. And there's no shame with me even realizing now that I've been repeating the same fucking cycle for the past 3 years. There isn't. Because if I knew, I would have done better. And if I didn't do better, this was my best. If I really knew, I would have left, but I didn't know. There's a reason why you keep going back to these people, man. There's a reason why you get with people that treat you like shit, because you treat yourself like shit. And there's a reason why you get with emotionally avoidant people, because you emotionally avoid yourself every fucking time. And there's a reason why you get with people that don't know how to talk, that don't know how to articulate their thoughts, that don't have like fashion or sense of expression or whatever, because you've also reached a standstill, and you've also stopped expressing yourself, and you also stopped trying to get to know yourself. I got to know it with the other people, but I didn't even see that with myself. This is a friendly reminder to stray away from criticizing the ego. Thank you. But instead, comfort it. We were only reflecting the world that was in front of us. We were only replicating external theories of hardship leading to success. We all strive to be recognized, seen, heard, and understood. Most of all, we desperately needed the reassurance what we are involved in matters. We feared external judgment because we could not bear the thought of becoming lazy. This conversation was simple, boring, and unsurprisingly predictable. I mean, imagine all the people we'd be letting down. Imagine how much of a burden we'd be. Imagine how much we would limit our progressive society. I can't be the one lazy person that's just sitting, that's just resting, that's just not thinking, that's just feeling their emotions and not forcing themselves to do anything else just because I'm exhausted and drained and tired. Well, I think our world is just very industrialized. It's very robotic, and it's not good for the soul, man. I can't blame myself for like wanting to copy that if that's what I'm seeing. Like, obviously I'm gonna mirror what's outside of me, but now that I see it, I'm just like, okay, no shame, bro. No fucking shame. Magic exists, and we all have used it. We made our pain disappear and hypnotized ourselves into being robots. Industrializing our soul and capitalizing on our pain. Pain is a false currency. We accept it as a means to happiness, when happiness was always free. Happiness does not need an external catalyst, but instead an eternal trust with the infinite universe. I'm gonna say that again. Happiness does not need an external catalyst. Instead, an eternal trust within the infinite universe, which has always resided within each and every one of us anyways. Happiness is not an option, but an inherent right. The only reason why why it feels like a choice is because we forced ourselves to take it away. This is the reminder. There are no blocks. There are no tests. This world functions off of free will, where happiness is a simple choice. You can choose to submit and surrender to the natural order of the universe. You can choose to release your relationship with control. You can choose to see yourself as someone who is aligned to their divine life path and soul mission. You can choose to believe that you are where and who you are always meant to be. You can choose to trust the path of love. You can choose to live effortlessly. Release any ideas that happiness can only be earned by exhaustively going against the many challenges in this world. Long-lasting happiness is and can only be intentionally chosen. Like, was I just trying to earn happiness? Like, instead of thinking that I just deserved it because I'm alive and I'm a divine being and I'm an extension of the universe, like, I didn't feel worthy of it. And that's another thing of self-worth, and that's also related to trauma and the father wound. And I'm gonna stop saying daddy issues and mommy issues. It's fucking father wound and mama wound. Your soul is not industrial. Your mind may be able to see a problem and find a resolution instantly, but your soul does not function in the same manner. Your soul needs the attention and energy, space and time to feel what is being felt. Translation from one to another is a divine skill that must be nurtured. Learn the art of feeling your feelings. Not everything your mind thinks lies in truth, and not everything that your heart feels lies in truth. Although it does not degrade its value and it does not destroy its worth. There is no need to negatively judge or assume a wrong, for a necessary component within the process of discovering truth is experimentation. Your mind was beautifully constructed, and within its design is the ability to problem solve. Your mind likes challenges and it's addicted to suffering. This is the matrix after all. We're not saying that your mind intentionally seeks stress, but with your specific makeup, it does. Your mind copies and pastes the design of the matrix, where stress equates to hard work, which will always be worth it in the end. Your soul, a key component of source, does not. Your soul only knows how to flow, and you must let it do what it naturally does so well. Your mind is the only thing which makes you desire a solution. Your soul simply wishes to be granted the freedom to feel. Emotion is energy in motion, so stop compromising its natural flow in attempt for just any kind of answer. Stop protecting your ego from experiencing pain, or more specifically, remembering pain. If you continually repress the memories of your subconscious, you will never be able to be conscious. I knew a spiritual awakening was happening, but I didn't know when it was going to happen. And my ego was judging it, but obviously it was going to judge it because it just wants things to happen in its own way, and it doesn't want to believe that anything outside of itself could know better than itself. So obviously I was dismissing it. I just wasn't paying attention to my reactions, dude. Which is no shame. I just wasn't paying attention. The world programs you to hate with comparison and competition. Knowing this, it's our job to continually fight against a system that does not respect empowered diversity. We must educate on matters of mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. We must inspire change and empower the becoming of our authentic selves. When the universe tells you to let people be, they mean it. Whether you know it or not, they're following the evolution of their soul's expansion. Even if you disagree with their lifestyle, everyone will change when they are ready on their own accord in the pursuit of their own free will. They're allowed to exist with no one else's approval but their own. Humanity is a race that is meant for change. An individual can decide to be whoever they want to be, wherever they want to be, whenever they want to be, when they want to be. The ego may wish to judge, but it's not its place to decide how someone else is supposed to live. Every single one of us is a product of our own environment, society, and culture. Every decision that has led to the next chapter in our evolution. You cannot dismantle the way that a person thinks because they have been making their decisions for themselves their entire lives. It is important to recognize your power within the situation. You do not have to accept and respect the person you disagree with, but you do have to let them be. The only solution is for you to remove yourself from the situation. Do not fight to keep the relationship in your life if it impedes on your happiness. It is simple. You must be selfish and choose yourself. You have the free will to live the way that you are meant to live, and so does everyone else. So let's all be selfish and choose what makes us happy. The rest of follows is a consequence of us choosing ourselves. This is the pivot. Are we meant to accept everything in our lives then? No, of course not. We must fight against systems of oppression and control because they are designed to rid people of their free will. This does not include judgment. This issue is immoral. The goal is to only attain free will for humanity, nothing more, nothing less. Everyone is allowed the free will to do what they want, but only if it does not impede on the free will of another person. We must protect free will at all costs. The only rule that comes with free will is it cannot take away the free will of another person. If so, you cannot act from free will. I feel like that has something to do with the election and everything that's going on with the world right now. I first started creating YouTube videos, and then I was like, the path of healing takes way much longer than just like something that an Instagram video can teach or something that a TikTok video can teach. Like, there's no way you can learn everything in less than a minute and a half. And that's what I really valued in my videos. Like, it was personal growth in real time. I try to do it the other way where I just got all the answers, but it's kind of like when you take acid or you take mushrooms and you have all these downloads and then suddenly you get the answer for everything, but you didn't let yourself experience that. You didn't actually let yourself, I don't want to say deserve, because I think it's also come from a place of ego, but just you have to let the entirety of your being experience that truth and get to that. You have your own blockages, you have your own paradigms, you have your own lens that you need to break down in order to transform and transmute. And for me, like, my soul understands everything. I have access to all of this knowledge. And then my mind can translate it, but my emotions and my body are so grounded within the 3D. And I feel like what I was doing in the past and what I've been doing up to this point was just not letting myself go through the process of learning it. Like, I was just trying to rush everything. What's this? I'm literally looking at it. Oh my God, bro. Aesop's fucking fable with the rabbit and the turtle. It's better to let yourself go through a situation slowly than to rush through it all. And then in the end, you'll both make it where you're supposed to make to. But what journey had more quality? And I don't want to grant myself just quick solutions. Like, the issue isn't that in this world, in this reality, in this dimension, that we don't have the answers. Of course you have the answers. The answers are all in you. But another component to that healing that will actually progress the evolution of yourself is the process with the human component. Your soul has all of this knowledge, but the human has all of this experience. And you can't just ask, like, why don't you just understand? Why don't you just understand? Why? Like, I'm telling you. Oh, which goes back to the first reading that I just fucking said. It's like, I know that you know. I know that you know, and you're telling me, but I have to be with myself throughout this process. I have to understand what shit is actually mine. I have to take accountability of the experiences that I've been in, even though I know that it wasn't my fault. I know that it wasn't my fault that, like, people put me through these experiences. It had an impact on me. I have to take accountability for I have to take responsibility for my being and what I decided to learn from that. Even if it's irrational, I have to take the time to confront that and transmute it. Like, you're a soul in a human body, and I think, oh, bro, I think I was going to extremes. And that's always been my thing. I always go to fucking extremes. This is like true balance now. Like, and now I see all the fucking components of the balance that I need. Motherfucker. Okay. The vain jackdaw. What? This is Aesop's fable. I knew I had this book for a reason, but let me read it. Okay. Jupiter announced that he intended to appoint a king over the birds and named a day on which they were to appear before his throne, when he would select the most beautiful of them all to be their ruler. Wishing to look their best on the occasion, they repaired to the banks of a stream, where they busied themselves in washing and preening their feathers. The jackdaw was there along the rest, and realized that, with his ugly plumage, he would have no chance of being chosen as he was. So he waited till they were all gone, and then picked up the most gaudy of feathers they had dropped, and fastened them onto his own body, with the result that he looked gayer than any of them. When the appointed day came, the birds assembled before Jupiter's throne, and after passing them in review, he was about to make the jackdaw king, when all the rest set upon the king-elect, stripped him of his borrowed plumes, and exposed him for the jackdaw that he is. It is not only fine feathers that make fine birds. Like, it's not just about what you are showing to other people, the way that you try to mask yourself. It's about who you are on the inside, and it's about how you view them yourself. And the jackdaw was like, well, there's no way I'm gonna have a chance of winning because I'm ugly. Like, that's why you were never gonna win. You were never gonna win because you thought that you were ugly. You didn't accept yourself as you are, and you try to push through and try to copy other people. Okay. The Fox and the Grapes. A hungry fox saw some fine bunches of grapes hanging from a vine that was trained along high trellis, and did his best to reach them by jumping as high as he could into the air. But it was all in vain. Vain is a very strong word right now, for they were just out of reach. So he gave up trying and walked away with an air of dignity and unconcern, remarking, "I thought those grapes were ripe, but I see now they are quite sour. It is very easy to despise what you cannot get." I'm kind of relating this in the beginning of my path, like me being alive on this earth and the lessons that I've had to learn. The first trauma that I ever experienced, the big T trauma that I ever experienced, was with my dad. I held a lot of resentment for a really long time towards that. Because of the trauma that I experienced with my dad, which is literally sexual assault from your father, that's a heavy trauma to hold. So of course it would only make sense that to avoid that trauma, I would dissociate. And I would compartmentalize all of my feelings. I was actually going to shut down all of my feelings. I would stop being a person. I think I was really mad at that trauma for a long time. And then I was mad at the way that I resolved that trauma for myself. And I kept thinking like, why isn't life easier? Why isn't life easier? Why can't I live a life where men respect me? Why can't I live a life where like happiness just comes to me easy? Why can't I live a life where I was just rich? Why did I have to be like the toxic environment that I grew up in? Like, why did I have to get that? And I just hated that for so long. I was so jealous and envious of other people that had their life so much easier. So then in my mind, I was just like, well, I'm not going to get that. This is my life, so I'm going to settle in it. So then I think I explored everything that I could have about this trauma, about this path. That's interesting. About this path that the universe laid out for me. And I tried to understand every single little thing. And I think I was trying too hard to try to change my trauma. Like, no, it actually isn't that bad. And this is not what the universe gave to me. And it was just like a misunderstanding. Like, I did not understand that the reason for this trauma, the reason for this experience, and the way that I grew up in my life, it wasn't for me to stay stuck in that forever, but it was for me to take note and then, yes, grant myself the permission to seek more without the comparison, without the competition of other people that are around me that had their life so much fucking easier. But again, I neglected that. And again, I denied that. And I was like, I'm gonna stay in this trauma. The trauma that I experienced with my dad and him like sexually assaulting me, and then having the impression that like all men suck anyway, so fuck it, whatever. This is a trauma that I'm comfortable with. This is trauma that I know. I'm just gonna keep getting with shitty ass men. And nothing can be worse than the trauma that I experienced with my father. It was also me thinking that it's not bad enough. Like, yeah, the situation sucks, but it's not that bad. But I just kept getting continually upset with myself because I think a part of me that I kept denying knew that I could do so much more and that it didn't have to be like this and I could be happier, and I deserve that. I deserve that for myself. It's easy to despise what you cannot get. Like a happy family, middle class life, easy money, easy upbringing without the trauma. At the end of it, I was just like, I didn't want it anyways. But I was denying myself, like, of course I could have got it. And of course it could have been so much easier. I didn't have to say that to myself. Like, I didn't want it anyways. Yes, you did, and that's okay. And it's okay to admit that you want more and that you want better. And yes, this reality sucks. And yes, like, appreciate it and whatever, but you don't have to stay in it. Get the fuck out. If you don't like it, then go. Start over. It's okay to start over. It's okay to create a new reality. Like, yes, of course, it would have been so much easier if my parents had a loving relationship that could teach me about love and teach me about relationships and what being healthy actually is. And it would be so great if I had parents that knew how to parent me. And it'd be so great if my parents had like life savings and I didn't have to worry about money and I didn't have to be in the survival mindset. And yes, it would be so much easier if I didn't live in like a low income neighborhood that didn't give me a lot of opportunities. Yes, I get it. I know. But this is the path that I chose for myself. Like, me and my higher self, there's a purpose, there's a lesson. And I think I was just so resentful that it was like, I didn't want it. In a spiteful way, bro. And then I started shitting on rich people. I started shitting on people that actually had two parents and a loving house, family, and whatever, and just like, I didn't have to deal with this much mental health. Like, I just got so resentful. And it goes literally back to the writing where I wrote, like, when I was talking to my shadow self, it's like, yeah, we keep having the same conversations. I'm ready to move on, like, whenever you are. But I know you're addicted to suffering, so I'm just waiting for you to get out of that. And then when you're ready to go, we can get out of here. Life can change, and, you know, we can create new light for yourself and whatever. I feel like my shadow felt like a prisoner in the fucking basement that I didn't let out because I didn't want to confront it. I didn't want to let it change because I didn't want my life to change, and I didn't want to be confronted with new things. Oh my freaking god. Okay, let's keep going. No way, bro. The page I literally bookmarked, and I haven't read this book in really long. The trumpeter taken prisoner. A trumpeter marched into battle in the van of the army and put courage into his comrades by warlike tunes. Being captured by the enemy, he begged for his life and said, "Do not put me to death. I have killed no one. Indeed, I have no weapons, but carry with me only my trumpet here." The captors replied, "That is only the more reason why we should take your life. For, though you do not fight yourself, you stir up others to do so. He who incites strife is worse than he who takes part in it." And I think this goes back to earlier when I was saying, like, no, I do not want to realize this about myself. Oh my god. This is so shameful. Okay. I don't think maybe it's not as evil as I think, but it's like those who encourage toxicity, like, yeah, I didn't make them do that, but I didn't stop them either. And I'm talking about like my situationships and whatever. Like, I was not following the higher path. I just wanted what I wanted. And I know they have a part two, fuck it, whatever, but like, I have been a shitty person at times. I have done things to have hurt other people because I was selfish, because I wanted things to go a certain way. And I do not want to do that anymore. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I don't know what else to possibly say right now. I'm glad that I've learned this about myself. I don't think there's a conclusion. We just have to continue. Maybe I'll reflect on it more and whatever. So what have we realized? There's a real shame for me to see myself in the entirety of who I am. I get lazy with the entirety of who I am. I've been in a habit of returning back to old cycles because of fear. I've been in a cycle of not appreciating the process, trying to rush the process. I don't take into account like how my environment has shaped me. And I think that I can just be headstrong about anything, but sometimes it's not you. Like you can't blame everything on yourself. It's not like you can't control everything either. We'll go into the next video and we'll figure it out. I sound sad and exhausted right now because I am sad and exhausted, but everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. It's painful, but it's a truth nonetheless. I just have to let myself grow through this. Okay, goodbye. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching.